And 3, 2, 1. Nice.
Was it
Just
in
a little
sync?
bit of a not really.
It was in
Not
sync
really.
on my end, but I think
Yeah.
the latency probably.
It wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. But welcome in episode 17.
I think so.
Episode 17, $1 Million Radio. Thanks for tuning in and joining us. Not too far from 20, boys.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
We'll be up to our age soon.
Yeah, I guess so. You're right. But yeah, it's been a very fast football season.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because we've been staying busy with the pod and everything. But I always feel like the football season flies by. So it takes
It's
forever to get
depressing.
here. Yeah.
It's depressing and exciting and all these different emotions, but if you're a Tennessee fan, it's honestly just depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a good year though, man.
We did.
We had a good
I'm
year.
very optimistic. I'm very happy about the year. Hate to go out like that, but I'm very happy with how we performed this year in most cases.
Yeah, so this is the first episode since Tennessee's big loss at Ohio State.
Belt to ass action happened that Saturday.
It was not pretty. I will say, didn't necessarily, I was hoping we would win. I didn't necessarily feel like, maybe we would lose that game, but I figured it would be at least a good game, a close game, and it was none of that. It was a butt whooping from the beginning till the end, and if it wasn't for Nico,
W fans though.
yeah, shout out to the Vols fans, but if it wasn't for Nico Iamaleava, we would have got skunked that game, probably 42-0. So, yeah, shout out to the fans, though. We did invade the shoe. We did take over downtown Columbus the night before. We did take over game day that morning. That was cool to see.
There's definitely like 40,000 people there, for sure.
Yeah, at least I think from all the reports I've seen, it was kind of 70-30 to Ohio State, as far as the fans go, maybe a little 60-40, some people say, but nobody travels like Vols fans. We were there. We were ready. I know a lot of people that ended up going to that game. It was cool to see all the Vol chants during game day at Ohio State. It was cool to see, Kirk Herbstreit and everybody talk about how they've never seen that before. AJ Hawk said that. It was,
Andy and Ari said that too. Yeah.
It was cool to see the Vols fans get their props from everybody. But man, it fired me up seeing all the fans there, and it fired me up to see the linemen come out, shirtless in the pregame. But it just made us look like frauds when we did that. Like we didn't know what we were walking into, I think we tried to make it so much about not being cold that
We got too cold.
well, I mean, I don't even know like if the cold was, I don't think the cold was the reason we lost that game.
Out talented, baby. We were out talented, outmatched. Everything about Ohio State was better than us that night. And another thing, I had another thing I was thinking of, but it seemed like every time teams take their shirts off in the cold, it does not bode well for them. It really does not. Have you noticed that? Didn't the Seahawks do that a few years ago, or it was like versus the Seahawks or something? and they got their ass absolutely handed to them.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I think there was another case that happened. I'm just saying I don't think that ever bodes well. But I think that this game is kind of an indicator where Nico's game has to evolve into. I think he is going to be much more of a deadly threat if he becomes more of a dual threat quarterback. Because he's shown bits and pieces of that, and he really showed a lot of that in the Ohio State game. But next year, people on the scouting reports, opposing teams, they need to have a game plan for him to be able to scramble. I think
that was one thing.
Option.
That was one thing throughout the season that I was kind of wanting to see from Nico, and we saw it more in the in the last stretch, UTEP and then the Vanderbilt game, we saw him, do more of those read options and keep it to the outside or scramble out of the pocket and maybe try to go gain some yards. We know Nico has the arm talent. He had a lot of overthrows this year, but and missed opportunities that way. But back to the Ohio State game, like you said, Jacob, there was such a big talent gap that I was not expecting to see, and many people were not expecting to see. You hear about Ohio State having a $20 to $25 million roster, and Tennessee has about a $10 million roster, and
it shows.
It absolutely showed in the round one game in Columbus. One of the major things that happened, and they pretty much dominated the line, offensive and defensive line for Ohio State. They pretty much dominated that line of scrimmage. But one of the biggest talent gaps was in the wide receiver cores. Ohio State has a stud freshman wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith, six catches, 130-something yards, 2 touchdowns. We have a 5-star wide receiver, Mike Matthews, who, our wide receivers just in general could not get open. And, there were a couple drops there as well, which is why Nico tried to put the team on his back and lower his shoulder, and he ended up cracking 2 helmets in that game. I don't know if y'all saw that.
I didn't know it was 2. But, hey, additionally, penalties really affected us.
Yeah.
On that first drive, if we don't get that, I don't know, I forgot what penalty it was, but
face mask.
That ends up, if we don't get that and don't cause that penalty and it's 4th down and they punt it, I mean, that could be, I'm not saying that changes the whole ball game. They were obviously more talented and just a better overall team, but I mean, it puts you in a better position to not get your ass with a belt to it,
Yeah. It was tough to see. Like you said, I was gonna say I would love to see the alternate reality of what would have happened in that game if it was pretty much a 3 and out that we stopped them to in the very opening drive.
Yeah.
And then that face mask gives them an automatic first down. They go down and score pretty quickly after that. But if we do hold them to a 4th down punt and then maybe get something going on offense, that would have been cool to see. Dylan Sampson had, you can count the number of carries he had on one hand because of a hamstring injury that apparently happened in the Vanderbilt game, is what I saw from it. And he just, I guess he tweaked it again in the cold in Columbus. But anyways,
honestly, penalties this year has kind of been one of the biggest factors in us losing. Because, I mean, if you go back to that Arkansas game, when we had that roughing the kicker penalty, I think that was the penalty that was called. It was on a punt. That gave Arkansas a fresh set of downs, and they went down and scored and took the lead. Just like in this Ohio State game, if we don't get that it sets us up for a better position. So I mean, that's something that's got to be tightened up on the defensive end. With how good our defense is, it's come at some critical points, either at the beginning of the game to get things rolling, or at the end of it to kind of close it out. So, I mean, that's something to look forward to next year.
Yeah, Ohio State jumped out to a 21-0 lead in the first quarter, and then we held them scoreless in the second quarter and got 10 on the board with the ball coming back to us after halftime. So it was 21-10. We got the ball. As bad of a start as it was, things were like, okay, we've been a second-half team all year. We got 10 on the board and held them after their hot start, and we might be able to get things going here. No, 3 and out. Ohio State scores right after that, makes it 28-10, and there was just no hope after that. No hope.
It was wraps.
But we overall, boys, how would you grade the season? A+ being the best, F being the worst. What would y'all say?
See, I started off with a B-, just with all the penalties and knick-knack injuries here and there that just kept taking us down, and then the Arkansas loss on top of all of that.
Hey, Griff, are you okay with this grading scale? It depends on how you look at it, because when I look at it in perspective, I would give it a B plus and A minus, considering we were losing to Georgia State like 4 years ago. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is the first time there's ever been a 12-team playoff, and we made it. You know, it's been a complete turnaround. Our defense has been electric all year. Nico is coming as his first season as a starter, and we got to the college football playoff, and we just got out-talented. I give it a B plus personally, but how are you guys looking at it? Are you looking at it with perspective with how we were once before, or just overall, just flatline, just this season, just that's it?
I would say just, maybe a little bit of both, being as biased as we are as Tennessee fans, obviously. But we were, like you said, 4 or 5 years ago, losing to Georgia State and BYU, both at home to start the season. And then we had Florida, and we lost to Florida. And we started out 0-3 that year. And that was like maybe the rock bottom of where we were as a program, and seeing how we've turned things around over the last few years with Josh Heupel and yeah, we're in the playoffs and all that's fine and dandy. But being 10-3, making the playoffs, if you told me that at the beginning of the season, I would probably rate that as an A minus or so. But that would be me thinking that we would lose to Alabama and Georgia and then lose in the first round of the playoffs. If that were the case, then I would probably say A minus. I think the Arkansas loss was so bad that
brings it down.
It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because we beat Arkansas and then we go beat Alabama and lose to Georgia. We're in the SEC championship game. We probably lose to Texas, but that would be a 10-2 team, or no, an 11-2 team going into the playoffs, being in the SEC championship game. That gives us a home field advantage. And if that game, we either, host Ohio State, maybe we host Indiana or something like that, SMU, two of those bottom teams that made the playoffs, we got to count ourselves in that because of how bad we lost. But if we get that home playoff game, let's say we play Ohio State, maybe we still don't win because of that, that talent gap that we ended up seeing in that game. But
you like your chances at Neyland.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. I don't think that would be a 42-17 game. It might be, more like a
42-24.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it was tough to see us go up there with all the talk of the cold being, something that's going to hinder us in that game.
And it would be a home game for us, like, people trying to bullshit it. I mean, it just was kind of embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. We are looking forward to next year as Tennessee fans. That is one thing that we can always say, maybe next year. But with, next year in our sights, and now the season being over, the transfer portal news has been taking everybody by storm. But Tennessee is losing a lot of players in the transfer portal, boys, and we've been talking about that. But I don't think it's as bad as everybody's making it out to seem.
Because, what's it been, like maybe 4 players in total? 5, maybe?
Well, if you count the offense and defense, it's more like, 10 names that are recognizable that, there are a bunch of people that weren't playing that are, trying to find playing time somewhere else.
Exactly.
But I went through and wrote down I made a note of all the players that we're losing that, are names. These are all on offense too, which kind of would worry you, but it's really, I don't think it's as bad as it seems. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are 7 players, depending on if Mike Matthews stays or not, it might be 6, but I went through and wrote down everybody's stats for the year and added them up. We've got Mike Matthews in the transfer portal, Squirrel White, Holden Stays, a junior tight end that we've seen this year, Cam Seldon, a sophomore backup to Dylan Sampson, who didn't really do much at all this year, Nathan Leacock, Chaz Nimrod, Caleb Webb, all 3 redshirt players. Leacock's a freshman. Nimrod and Webb are sophomores. So I went through. Mike Matthews had 7 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. Squirrel White, which is probably the biggest name we have in the wide receiver room at Tennessee, he had 34 catches, 381 yards, 2 touchdowns on the whole year. Not, that's a lot of catches, but
That's a down year.
Not much production for Squirrel White. He's only scored 2 touchdowns each year that he's been with the Vols too. So he was obviously battling injuries throughout the year as well. But
he's always battling injuries. No offense. No offense.
Yeah, and
no
I also feel like we could have used him so much differently than we did in our offense, because he's our Tyreek Hill, Jaden Reed type player.
See, I was expecting him to fill that D. Williams role from,
Yeah.
not this year, but the year before.
Yeah.
I expected him to, to slide into that role, on kick returns and punt returns.
Yeah.
But never went anywhere.
So, I would have liked to see Squirrel White be put in motion, move him around in the formation.
He dropped a lot of passes, though. No, I don't mean any disrespect. Don't mean any disrespect to him, but I think a lot of these guys transferring out are just guys that are wanting. They kind of see the writing on the wall. They know that there's upcoming freshmen and guys that are younger than them that are going to get more playing time, because we have some good recruits coming in, and I just think that they know that, hey, based on my performance this past year or lack thereof, I'm not going to be getting the playing time I want.
So we also have Holden Stays, the junior tight end. He transferred from Notre Dame. He had 15 catches, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. Cam Selden, 23 carries, 118 on the year, 1 touchdown. Nathan Leacock, 1 catch, 13 yards, no touchdown. Chaz Nimrod, 10 catches, 121 yards, no touchdowns. And Caleb Webb, 6 catches for 48 yards. And so that brings the total to what we're losing in the portal this year from this season: 73 catches, 795 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So
I think we get that out of freshman wide receivers coming in.
And if we keep Mike Matthews, I think he's going to be a stud no matter where he ends up.
He's wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Chris Brazzell.
I think it was an NIL play, what was happening. He was just wanting to negotiate more money. And like Boo Carter did the same thing. But I think they each want bigger roles, and that's fair. But I mean, Mike Matthews, you're a freshman, so just wait and get to know how things work, and then you'll excel. But I'm very glad to see him back. He's such a great talent.
I agree. And like you said, Boo Carter, one name that I'd kind of forgotten about with all the news that's been happening the last couple of days. But there were talks where he was wanting out or wanting a different NIL deal. And also one of his reasons to stay was he was trying to he wants to be that Travis Hunter player, play on both sides of the ball, which is how he ended up getting recruited to Tennessee. And obviously he's one of our safeties, strong safety or a nickel cornerback on our defense. Very good talent that we've had. One of our best defensive backs behind, Jermod McCoy. But he wants to be more involved on the offense. I say give it to him. He ended up being our punt returner for the back half of the year or so, and he's electric when he has the ball in his hands. Yeah, absolutely. So I don't think everything's as bad as it seems, boys, but
especially since we're so engulfed in the Vol sphere, all you're going to see is Vol news, all that stuff. So if one person enters a transfer portal, it's like breaking news, but it's literally like, a left tackle that, didn't get any playing time this year. And it's like breaking news. It's like, no, it's not really that big of a deal. No offense to anyone that is transferring. I hope you get as much playing time as you can, but Tennessee just has a lot of talent coming up. I think we're going to have a better pool of players next year. I mean, this year our offense just was obviously different than our 2022 offense, which is what we always refer to because that was like a statement year that we made. Yeah. But we found different ways to win. What worries me is our schedule next year is that we're going on the road a lot more. to like Florida and Alabama and stuff. And if we're not frauds, we'll beat them at like an away game, or it'll be close, at least with Alabama. But if we are frauds and we can only win at home, that's going to be an issue, and we're not going to make the college football playoff.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's been one of really the only knocks on Josh Heupel since he's been, our coach, is that Tennessee has not won much on the road under Josh Heupel. Lost to Florida last year, lost to Missouri last year. Obviously haven't beaten Georgia at all. And then on the road to Arkansas again this year, and then the Ohio State game. Like, there are so many big-time losses that we've had on the road that it is a knock against Josh Heupel. We got to get that figured out. We got to get it figured out. The one addition we've added from the portal so far is a redshirt sophomore offensive lineman, Wendell Moe. He's 6'3", 330, and
is he from Wisconsin?
He's from Arizona. He went to Arizona. Is where he's transferring from.
We have a Wisconsin guy coming in too, as well.
I haven't seen that, but this Wendell Moe guy, I saw a stat that I think he had over 1,000 snaps at Arizona and let up like 1 sack. I think it was something crazy like that. But he should be a good addition. We've got what's his name, David Sanders, offensive tackle coming in from high school, one of the top prospects in the country. So I don't think it's as bad as it seems with this transfer portal news that we've been seeing, but who knows?
You completely forgot to mention Gaston Moore. You completely forgot to mention he's in the portal.
Gaston is gone. Yeah.
Gas pipe is gone.
Nobody coming in throwing picks whenever Nico comes out, but we'll see how that affects us next year. But yeah, there's no way Moore was getting playing time with behind Nico and the Jake Merklinger, who we've had on campus this year, backing up in the quarterback room, and the new recruit we've got, Faison Brandon. Is that his name? Faison Bradley something. I'm sorry, I'm so bad. I should know that, but he's I think one of the top quarterback prospects in the country coming in. So he'll probably take the throne after Nico.
Wisconsin defensive lineman James Thompson Jr. He has transferred to Tennessee. He's a 5-star, I believe. He's a top 5 portal prospect. So
cool.
So we got talent coming in. Yeah, we got a bunch of people coming in. So nothing to fret about, guys. Nothing to fret. I do think the transfer portal system is broken. You cannot have people transferring while national bowl games and championships are happening. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think overall NIL and transfer portal, a good thing, but I do think there needs to be regulations, and something's got to be worked out where these kids are not signing these contracts with the school and then can just leave the school the next year and go find more money somewhere else and transfer every year that you're in college. I think the rule used to be you could only transfer once, maybe twice. And there are teams. I saw this one player who's
and even then they'd take your eligibility from you.
Yeah, I saw this one player who's a triple Wildcat. He played at Arizona, Northwestern, and now he's playing for Kansas State. So 3 different teams all named the Wildcats. Nice. But I don't think it's as bad as it seems. But we'll see. We're also going to look at the upcoming playoff games. Tennessee is out, but we do have
congrats Ohio State.
Boys.
I'm an Ohio State hater, but I'm humble in losses. Congrats. I still think you're gonna get your ass handed to by Oregon, but if you play how you did versus Tennessee, you'll probably keep it a 1-point game like you did the first time. So
yeah. So we do have our boys at Boise State, the Broncos, playing in the Fiesta Bowl. Boise State is undefeated in Glendale, Arizona, but so is Penn State. I don't know if y'all knew that. Boise State is 3-0 in this Fiesta Bowl game. Penn State is 6-0. Nittany Lions minus 11.5 point favorites, over under 53.5. Is Boise going to keep it within double digits?
That opening line is a joke.
It opened
11.5.
It opened at 10.5. Now it's moved 1 point in Penn State's favor.
Yeah, I think that they're definitely going to keep it in there. Man, first half, Ashton Jeanty is about to come out swinging. I'm telling you, it's been, 2 or 3 weeks in between the Heisman and this game back. He's going to come out swinging. I promise. I think he's going to come out, and I think Boise State could take a touchdown lead by the half. I really do.
So what about after 4 quarters, Jacob? Do you think Boise State's
I don't know at
there?
that point. I don't know, because Penn State, dominated SMU, and then they also kept it relatively close with Oregon. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be an 11-point game personally. I would love to see Boise State pull out the win, maybe a game-winning field goal or something. But it's a pick. It's obviously it's going to get way more difficult to project these games as it keeps going down since it's the playoff. But I'm going to say Boise State by a field goal. I don't think it's absolute domination by Penn State or Boise State. I just think it's just a field goal win by either team. Penn State is probably the better team overall with more depth, but Boise State just has a good game plan.
What are your thoughts, Griff?
I'm going to say Jeanty tears it up in the first 3 quarters. And then my man Madsen's going to drive them down the field, kick game-winning field goal, and they're going to take this sucker on.
I like it.
Okay.
What about you?
So Boise State upsetting Penn State. I don't know. I'm not as confident just because in this
That's
opening
what I want
round
to happen. That's what I want to happen. I'm not saying that will happen.
I obviously want Boise State to win too. We've been talking all this crap about Penn State and Ohio State and Notre Dame all year. I'd like somebody to be able to take one of these teams down. But I will say in the opening round, we saw all these lines be 7.5, 8.5. Texas was minus 11.5 against Clemson. And all of the favorites won. All of the favorites covered. And, we were looking at this Ohio State-Tennessee line, minus 7.5 a couple weeks ago. And it just seemed like, why is it 7.5? Why are they favored by more than a touchdown? And we saw why. Why is Penn State favored 11.5 against Boise State? Well, Penn State, their only loss came at home to Ohio State, 27-20. Boise State's only loss came at Oregon by 3 or 4 points. Almost won that game if it wasn't for, punt return?
Punt return and a kick return in the third.
Yeah,
late third quarter.
Yeah, so Oregon got lucky and escaped that one. But that was, week 3 or 2 against Boise State. So Oregon's a different team at this point. Boise State's a different team at this point. Ashton Jeanty has had 2 or 3 weeks to, recover, and he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder after losing the Heisman to Travis Hunter.
He's rested.
I would like to see Boise State keep it close, keep it within 10. I don't know if that happens. I think Penn State is just the bigger team, the stronger team, deeper. Drew Aller, the quarterback, has come on and played pretty well the last few games. Even played well in the loss to Oregon in the Big Ten championship. But yeah, I don't know.
I've got faith in my boys.
I've got faith in Boise State too, but realistically is tough.
Griffin, who's the better team?
I'd say Penn State, just, depth wise, but
that's fair. Now,
we got a chip on our shoulder. Everybody's counting us out.
Anything's possible, but I mean, do you think Penn State is in a position to lose to inferior teams?
I don't
think so.
Let me ask this. Who do you think would win between Boise State and SMU in a neutral site?
I'm taking Boise State every day of the week.
I mean, I would too. But realistically, what do you think that line would be before the game? Boise State, SMU, neutral
I'd say
site.
They'd probably put it at 7.5 or 8.5.
For Boise State?
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be that much. But I mean, I think Boise State would probably beat SMU. But my point being, Penn State was at home in that game. They won 38-3.
You got 2 pick sixes in the first quarter.
Yeah,
that essentially makes it over.
That ain't happening with Boise State. That's not happening.
No.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, Maddox Madsen, has silently been one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. 20-something touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. But, and that's easier for him to do whenever you got Ashton Genty in the backfield. You run play action off of him, get people open. But I don't know. Penn State's defense absolutely dominated SMU up front, in the secondary, everything. They did have 2 pick sixes and 3 interceptions total in the first quarter, but
Guess what?
Or at least first half.
SMU doesn't have Ashton Genty. No, I'm just kidding.
That's true.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's a completely different game.
Well, I mean, I'm just gonna. I want to see how Boise State reacts offensively from our receivers when Penn State goes and puts 8 and 9 in the box.
Yeah,
we need to burn them deep every opportunity we get.
Yeah,
very true. Very true.
Now, like I was watching Joel Klatt earlier, and he was saying like Boise State has always been the better team in their games, maybe except to Oregon, and Penn State has always been the better team except to like Ohio State and Oregon. So the games that they're better than the other team, they've won. So if you think Penn State's better than Boise State, they're probably going to win. So
yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
So that will be going down New Year's Eve, 7:30 Central Time. We're filming this Monday around
tomorrow
lunch.
night.
Yeah, so tomorrow night. I'm gonna try to have the video up by Tuesday morning, but that will be the first game, followed by New Year's Day at 1:00. Texas and Arizona State face off. Texas Longhorns minus 12.5, over under 51.5. Do you think Texas is going to be able to shut down Cam Scattaboo, boys, the Arizona State running back?
Yeah.
So I've heard everybody talking the team to watch out for is Arizona State, which, give or take, I've only watched probably 2 of their games all season. That's my bad on my part, but I'm hoping it'll be close, but I'll take Texas.
I think Texas's defense has always been pretty good. I do think it's kept them in all their games basically, but it depends on like whatever you think the score is going to be. It kind of depends on which offense shows up from Texas. Is Quinn Ewers going to come in firing on all cylinders, or is he going to be kind of shy and they're going to need to put Arch in for a few plays? If it's the latter, Arizona State has a chance. But if it's the Texas team we saw versus Florida, where they just absolutely dominated them on all fronts, then I don't think Arizona State really has that much of a chance.
Yeah. Texas has had 3 big games this year. 2 of them came to Georgia, 1 in the SEC championship. They lost both of those games.
Those are the only games I've seen their defense make stupid mistakes.
Yeah. And their only other big game was, last week. Big because of the circumstances, not because of the opponent. Playing Clemson, they were favored 11.5 in that game, won by 14. Even though Clemson started coming back there in the second half a little bit, they were still able to hold them off and cover. Now it's 12.5. I would take Texas minus 12.5. I don't know if Arizona State's defense would be that good. They let up a lot of points to Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game. So I would take Texas minus 12.5.
Yeah, I don't know if it's absolute domination by Texas, but I would like to see Arizona State pull it out, but we'll see.
All right, we're going to have a pause in the action and be back after a word from our sponsor.
BetterHelp.
Now we are back. 2 more games to talk about here in the college football playoff quarterfinal round. As we have Ohio State and Oregon in the Rose Bowl, Notre Dame and Georgia in is that the Sugar Bowl?
Yeah.
Sugar Bowl, one of them. So, Notre Dame and Georgia and Ohio State, Oregon. That will be the first game kicking off at 5:00 New Year's Day. Ohio State at Oregon in Pasadena, California. Buckeyes minus 2.5 point favorites, over under 55.5.
Wow. How is it just going based off their previous performance, maybe?
Maybe. As we said earlier, Ohio State played at Oregon earlier in the year, lost by 1 point after Kyle McCord. Is that his name? Kyle McCord?
Yeah. Or
no.
Will Howard.
Will Howard, yeah. Sorry. So Will Howard pulled a Nico and slid as time expired, and
I think
he
he thought there
game.
was like 1 second left with a timeout or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But.
So minus 2.5 point favorites. Let's say, they played in Oregon, so Oregon had the home field advantage. They won by 1. Usually you give 3 points to a team in that circumstance. Now it's a neutral site field at the Rose Bowl, minus 2.5, which seems about right. Ohio State and Oregon.
And I don't think Oregon has any other rules to exploit, like the 12-man rule and everything.
Yeah, they put a stop to that right after that happened.
I don't think there's any of that happening in advantage. Honestly, it's a pick 'em again. I mean, there's no clear favorite. God, give me Oregon again.
What about you, Griff? How you feel this is gonna play out?
See, part of me wants to take Ohio State based on how they played.
Yeah.
With, the 3-point swing, like you said, being at neutral site.
Oregon also coming off, 2 weeks of rest after the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah, they might come out a bit sluggish.
Ohio State
or rested.
came out hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Coach Dan Lanning is one of the best in the country, I would say. Oregon and Ohio State, these are the two most expensive rosters in the country. So, shouldn't be much of a talent gap. We've already seen Oregon beat this team once. Oregon is so explosive offensively. Their defense is probably better than Tennessee's, at least in the secondary. I don't know. Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State, that freshman we were talking about. He could have a big game. He's a dog, but also Oregon might have the players and the schemes to shut him down. Let me go see what the stats were in that game.
See, part of me also thinks this is Oregon's, with Georgia being a little bit lesser than what they are, with Carson Beck being out. I feel like this might be Oregon's one chance to finally get a national championship.
Win their first championship.
Yeah, it's crazy that they hadn't won one. I think they made it to 1 or 2. They lost to
Cam Newton, and they lost to Ezekiel Elliott in Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see, where are the player stats?
I just think Oregon's won every game they've been in, man. They even beat Ohio State. I just don't see how Ohio State can come out after we've seen how great they can be and how bad they can be. Oregon's just been consistently good all season. They've beaten every challenge that's been in front of them. I just don't see them losing this game.
In the previous game, Oregon won 32-31. Two big receivers that Ohio State has. Jeremiah Smith, 9 catches, 100 yards, 1 touchdown, a long of 38 yards. Emeka Egbuka, 10 catches, 93 yards, 1 touchdown, along with 26. So,
it's got shootout written all over it.
Travion Henderson, 10 carries, 87 yards. Quinshawn Judkins, 11 carries, 23 yards, but a touchdown. And Will Howard, he plays well in these big games, boys. 28 of 35, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, QBR of 95.1. As much as I hate to say this, I will take Ohio State on the money line. As I hate to say it. So I would love to see Oregon win. So my emotional hedge will be Ohio State money line. Put a little bit of money on it. Not enough to where if it loses, I'm stressing about it. But, if Ohio State wins, I'm not going to like it. But, hey, I win some money. I did that with the Packers yesterday. Bet on Minnesota to win since it was pretty much an even money pick'em game. And and we did not pull it out. So at least I got some money out of it, you know.
Exactly. It's a win-win if your team loses and you bet on the other team to win. Or I guess it's a win either way.
I guess I should have bet
on the Eagles yesterday then.
Yeah.
But
so
I think Oregon takes it. I do, just barely though. Not I think anything crazy.
I just hope it's a good game. I'm tired of seeing these blowouts in these playoffs, man.
Me too. But that's kind of been people's. They think that's a symptom of a 12-team playoff.
They complain, but it's been the thing the whole time.
Yeah, like when TCU got in and Cincinnati and all that. Like it's always been.
Well, even Michigan State 10 years ago.
Yeah.
The TCU game. The crazy thing about that is that was the national championship game,
and
pathetic. They lost by 50 points.
It was like 66-7 or something. It was insane.
Yeah, it was wild.
Crazy work.
But the team they lost to was Georgia, who plays Notre Dame. 8:45 kickoff, New Year's Day or New Year's night, I should say. Georgia. Without Carson Beck, Gunnar Stockton going to be the quarterback. -1.5 point favorites, basically a pick'em game. Notre Dame against Notre Dame. 45.5 is the over/under. A little bit lower than these other games we've seen.
Gunnar Stockton is a dog. Give me Georgia. Gunnar Stockton, he is electric. He came in, gave them the spark they needed that Carson Beck just is not capable of having. So glad he declared for the draft now that his draft stock is 7 rounds lower than what it was coming into the season.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he really set himself up to fail with that one.
He knows that Georgia's going the Gunnar Stockton route. He's a Georgia boy, 5-star quarterback coming in. He is a freshman, right?
I think so.
He's a freshman.
Yeah, he's a freshman.
So, how you feel, Griff?
See, I feel like it's going to be closer than some people expect, but just to be different, give me Notre Dame.
Notre Dame? I'm honestly going to have to ride with you.
See, Jacob, I know you're laughing, but I'm a Georgia hater through and through.
Yeah. Georgia's defense.
At least Georgia's in a conference. Sorry.
Very true.
Very true. Right.
At least Georgia is the best in a conference. I mean, Notre Dame is not the best at anything. I mean, that's crazy.
Notre Dame is not ever going to be able to get the top 4 seeds in this setup that they've got.
Yes.
I think it should change. I think it should change.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I also think that they should go the NFL playoff route where you don't reseed every round, but you give like the number 1 seed who had the bye, they get to play the lowest seed that made it to the second round. So it would be Boise State, I guess. If they were to do it that way, because Boise State is ranked number 9, even though they have the 3 seed, or they play Arizona State, I guess. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say Georgia's defense is very good. This will be the best defense Notre Dame has played all year. Notre Dame has, other than that one terrible loss to Northern Illinois in week 2, Notre Dame has pretty much handled everybody very well. Their closest game was, I think it was the USC game. They won by double digits.
A&M game?
Yeah, week 1. That would have been, yeah. But since that other loss the only loss they've got, they've pretty much taken care of business. Over under 45.5, it might be an under game. But I will say, honestly, boys, if it was Carson Beck, I would take Georgia.
See, that's the only thing that worries me.
What?
Yeah, I know, right?
Gunnar Stockton's the reason that they...
I know, but we watched this man almost die on live television.
Yeah.
but what happened right after? Did he get right back up?
He did, but Carson Beck came in with his limp hand and handed the ball off for the win in overtime. Yeah, I mean, Gunnar Stockton came in. He was the spark that Georgia needed to win that game, yes, but he threw for 60 yards in the second half with 1 interception, 0 touchdowns.
First game he's played all year.
Very true. Very true. And Texas was, the best defense Georgia's played all year as well. And they've beat him twice. But this will be another emotional hedge game because I don't want to see Notre Dame beat a SEC team. But I will take Notre Dame plus 1.5, just to make it interesting. I think Notre Dame they're a very big team, very strong and physical. And I don't know if y'all saw this, but it was the Indiana game. In the pregame, one of the offensive linemen for Notre Dame was giving a pep talk to everybody, and it like made me want to run through a wall. Just seeing how intense and laser focused this guy was, trying to give everybody else the mindset that he had. Dude, it was like
was it there for Notre Dame? You said,
yeah, it was an offensive lineman. I have to go try to find the video. Maybe I can put it in right here, but
Hey, we're all built for moments like tonight, man. We're all here for moments like tonight. God put us on this earth for days like today. Days like today, He put us together to go out and ball. Like we did since we were kids, man. Go ball. I'm tired of talking. Be about action today. Like Freeman said, tired about that shit. They gotta play us. They never played someone like us. They gotta play us. All night long, they gotta play us. Four quarters of football. They ain't ready for it. They gotta play us. Got you want to.
It should have made them want to join a conference.
Yeah, I don't think that's the player's fault. But
well, I mean, it kind of is if you commit to a school that doesn't participate.
Yeah, I'll try to go find that video and maybe put it in. But
It just baffles me because they played in the ACC the COVID year.
Yeah.
And they were just like, you know what? Adios.
Just to be able to play games because
they have a deal with the ACC, I think, to play at least 5.
And I think in basketball and stuff, aren't they in the ACC?
They're full-fledged in the ACC in basketball. It's just football is just for a TV deal that they have, but it's still ridiculous. I mean,
NBC's had a hold on Notre Dame football for probably the last 70 years.
Yeah. I mean, good for them, but also like you put yourself in this predicament where you don't have to play conference games other than the few ACC games you got to play every year. So if you can take care of those and schedule, small teams, you can be 11-1 going into the playoffs. They took care of Indiana. It was the closest game of the first round, but it never felt close.
No, that was like one of those games where it was over. It's just, they ran up the score at the end to make it look closer. Yeah,
Indiana had a late touchdown to bring it within 10. 27-17 was that final. But yeah, I guess I'll take Notre Dame plus 1.5. Like I said, it might be an under game, but who knows?
Can't wait. Gunnar Stockton is a dog. I cannot wait for his official full game debut.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But so yeah, that'll be the second round, the quarterfinal round of the college football playoffs that will be kicking off tomorrow night. With Boise State and Penn State. So let's transition now to some NFL talk. We'll keep it short. What's the dog got to say about it? What's he saying?
A lot apparently.
So we're going into the final week of the NFL regular season. Jeez, that's a big line. Ravens hosting the Browns minus 17.5. Take the under, boys. 42.5. In a game with a spread like that.
They benched Jameis, so
yeah,
you never know.
So we got a lot of playoff implications.
Shut up. Shut up.
He's telling you to shut up, dude.
He's bargaining back at you. He's like, no, you shut up.
Yeah, so a lot of playoff implications going into the final week, as there is every year. Griff's Bengals play at the Steelers. They also need to win that game.
Of course.
Have a little bit of help. Going in. The game of the week, though, will be Sunday nights. This is a battle. The Lions do have to play San Francisco tonight. So as long as they win, they're expected to win that game. 3.5-point favorites in San Francisco. This will be the 49ers. No, it won't be their last game, but kind of a last stand for San Francisco going into these last 2 weeks. But the game of the week will be Sunday night. the Minnesota Vikings at Detroit. The Lions minus 2.5 point favorites, over under 52.5. That will be, as long as the Lions win tonight, whoever wins that game will be the number 1 seed in the NFC, and the loser will drop to the 5 seed.
Really? Wow. Did not.
If the Lions happen to lose tonight, then that game will be, Minnesota will have a chance to win the 1 seed. But if the Lions lose tonight to San Francisco but beat the Vikings next week, that will propel the Eagles to the number 1 seed. And then the winner, I guess that would be Detroit, would get the 2 seed, dropping Minnesota to the 5 seed. So it's hard to imagine you have 2 losses going into the last week of the season, and it's possible that you would be playing on the road the whole playoffs.
Yeah,
The NFC North is a freaking animal this year.
Give me Detroit.
and congrats. I'm not no means any Philadelphia fan, but what a bounce back for Philadelphia after their crumbling last year.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, that's kind of a cool thing you like to see. I like Jalen Hurts personally, so I'm happy to see them back. Not them really, but like I don't want to see him fail. So
yeah. The Packers, after their loss yesterday, another game to Minnesota where we just
potential frauds.
Ooh, Minnesota or Green Bay?
See, I'm still not fully sold on Minnesota.
I'm not either. I mean, they have
Are you sold on Green Bay?
I don't watch the NFC enough.
Well, I will say Green Bay, depending on if the Commanders have to beat the Cowboys this week, and if that happens, Green Bay is the 7th seed. And if they win against Chicago, they're in the playoffs either way. But if Green Bay beats Chicago, they're 12-5. They're going to be the 7th seed in the NFC, going on the road to the 2 seed. But if the Commanders somehow lose to the Cowboys, who got absolutely demolished by the Eagles' 3rd-string quarterback yesterday, if the Commanders lose to the Cowboys in Jerry World, that will move the Commanders to the 7th seed and move Green Bay up to the 6th seed, which would mean we're playing at LA instead of at, one of the 3 Eagles, Lions, or Vikings. I would much rather see that happen, but also I wouldn't mind seeing Detroit or Minnesota again.
Yeah.
Let us go play there, and they're not beating us 3 times in 1 year. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are.
I don't think so.
It's never been a competition. It's never been close.
That's a lie. That's a lie. 3 of the 4 games that we've lost have been within 2 or 3 points.
If you're Green Bay, how do you let Detroit on 4th down when they're in field goal range get the first down, man? I mean, don't get that.
One of the best offenses in the league. That's how.
but you think y'all are gonna beat them next time you see them?
I mean, it's all situational. But the first game we played Detroit, we lost at home by 10 points. Then we went on the road and lost by 3 points in a very, very close game. We played the Vikings early in the year, got down 28-0. It was Jordan Love's first game back off of his knee injury in week 1. He threw 3 interceptions in the first half, and then they put it together. We're down 28-0 and came back and lost by 2 or 3 points.
Y'all almost came back versus
That's
the
what
Vikings.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And then yesterday we were down 20 to 3 at one point, and then it was 27-10, and we lost 27-25. And if it wasn't for another, just a couple first downs there at the end, we could have had a chance to get the ball back. But
I was not expecting that to happen, because I was at the movies, and we had left to go to the movies when y'all were down like. What was the big gap, like 10 to 27? You said,
yeah.
I think we'd left at that. I think we'd left at that point, and then when I looked at the score, it was like 25 to.
Yeah.
I was like, dang. And
But I will say,
I texted saying y'all were getting cooked.
yeah, and I was waiting to say, give it to me, after we came back, but didn't get that chance. But there was a point in that game where We scored that first touchdown on the comeback, and then we went for 2. And people were, the announcers were like, "Why would you go for 2? Because if you don't make it, then you have to go for 2 just to be able to have that chance to tie it with a field goal." But in Jordan Love's first career start at Lambeau against the Saints in Week 3 last year, we went into there was 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. We were down 17-0, and we scored the first touchdown of the comeback, went for 2, got it, and then came back and won completely 18-17 because of that 2-point conversion instead of going for the tie with the field goal. So that was LaFleur's thought process going into that, that last little push at the end. But I mean, that's 3 games where 2 against the Vikings, 1 against the Lions that we've lost because we just can't do anything for the first 3 quarters, and then, have such a big battle to climb back there in the fourth, and we just couldn't get it done. Too little, too late is what they say. But yeah, it's setting up for an exciting playoff push here in the NFL, and there's no team at all in the NFC that's gonna have an easy draw going into the playoffs in round 1. So, yeah, we're setting up for some bangers here in the NFC.
Oh yeah,
and the AFC.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
So,
I don't think the Chiefs' black magic devil shit's gonna be getting them out of this playoff.
No, yeah,
I think once they meet the Bills again, they're getting the hell beat out of them.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. Who do y'all think are? Well, we don't have the playoffs finalized just yet, but who do y'all think are meeting in the Super Bowl? Has it changed since the preseason picks?
I forgot who I said was gonna. I'm hoping the Ravens, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I feel like I said Chiefs, Lions, but
Lions.
I can't remember.
I hope it's the Bills Lions.
Yeah,
I said
that or Ravens Lions. I will also.
I want to see Lamar get a championship.
I said Buffalo and Green Bay, and I will stick by that. I'll stick by it.
Or knowing me at the beginning of the season, I probably said Cincy, but
yeah.
Hey,
we still got a chance.
Y'all need Y'all need 3 things to happen, and very possible they do happen.
You gotta beat the Steelers, obviously, and then
which they've been on their usual crumble at the end of the year.
You get your 10 wins, and that's it, right?
Yep.
You need Kansas City to beat Denver, although Kansas City is sitting all their starters. They don't want to see Joe Burrow. They don't want to see Joe Burrow.
Is it confirmed they're doing that? Is that for sure? I mean, they've already clinched the 1 seed.
Yeah, there's nothing that they can gain in this game. So there's nothing they can lose in this game.
Just win for me. Use your black magic to win for me.
Yeah, Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz ain't the worst backup quarterback in the league. I'll say that.
The Broncos ain't been in the playoffs since Super Bowl 50. We need that to stay a thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, any last words, boys, before we sign off and get ready for these
songs of the week?
No, I think either the Bills or the Lions are going to win it all. I really do think one of those 2 teams will do it.
Do y'all have a $1 Million Radio song choice of the week?
Griffin, go first, please.
I'm going to start it off with You Wouldn't Believe by 311.
Of course, it's 311.
311.
Wow.
It's been running through my head this week.
Wow. I respect it. Go ahead, Tyler. I'm sorry, Skylar.
Whoa. Jeez.
Oh.
I'm still kind of looking. Let's see.
Okay, I'll go 731 by Belmont.
Hey, there you go. Did I say that before? Or did you just find that?
If you did, I'm doubling on it. It's that good.
Okay. I will go Wax Wings. No, I've already said that song. Never mind. Hold on.
Wow.
Hey,
Unpreparedness,
Belmont,
guys.
Huh? Yeah. No,
like
this is one that has been getting to me last
I'm also
couple
riffing
weeks.
it up on my 8-string lately.
You just
really?
Golly.
8 strings. Who needs 8 strings? I mean, that's just. That's
See, the most. I'm a bass player, bro, and the most I'll go with is 5.
I don't blame you.
Like,
I don't blame you.
All right, I will say this. House on Sand from Nothing More's newest album called Carnal. The intro of the album goes into this song, and then it transitions beautifully. It's called House on Sand, Nothing More. Eric Vanlerberg of I Prevail is in that song. So it's a very good song. It's one of those that makes you want to, be in church, put your hands up and scream. But
slight pull. Shaq's in the music video of the song I chose.
Who?
Shaq.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Of course.
Shaq's doing he does everything. It doesn't matter. But yeah, boys, I guess that will wrap it up. Episode 17, $1 Million Radio, college football playoff quarterfinal round coming up here in the next couple days, and we'll be reacting to that next week. We will have the finalized playoff bracket of the NFL playoffs. So a lot to look forward to next week, and we'll have our reactions to everything football and everything Tennessee. So that is episode 17, $1 Million Radio.
Hope everyone had a good Christmas.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
We'll see you in 2025.
We will see you in 2025, and we'll also see you next time.